White dragon, defeated. Obstacle course, beaten. Milestone point, reached. Crystal caverns, arrived in. Githyanki, encountered. Death on the astral sea, narrowly averted. It's been a couple of eventful sessions in our Dungeon of the Mad Mage campaign. It started with us fighting a white dragon atop a river of lava, and it finished with us taking down a red dragon atop the astral sea. And it's surprising, just how efficiently we took down both of those dragons. I've never played D&D at such a high level before. Goodness me, we are strong. So strong, in fact, that the DM afterwards declared that any more dragons that we encounter during this campaign will now be one stage older than they previously were. So young becomes adult, adult becomes ancient, and so on and so on and so on. But anyway, so we beat the dragon, we complete the obstacle course, and after this we move to the next floor and we level up. And during level up, I, just for the fun of it, decide to try and talk to my god, Klabu. Now, obviously, Klabu doesn't actually exist. He's not really a god, but I don't know that. So instead, I reach out to some otherworldly entity which doesn't have any idea who I am, and I cast Contact Other Plane. For those of you who don't know, Contact Other Plane is a spell that lets you talk to a demigod or spirit or other mysterious entity from another plane. Contacting this extraplanar intelligence is very difficult on you. You have to pass an intelligence saving throw. On a fail, you go insane and take a lot of psychic damage until you take a next long rest. Luckily, I knew we were about to long rest anyway, so I thought, hey, this is going to be an interesting character moment. Either way, why not? Let's try it. So I cast the spell, and somehow I rolled really well, and the spell worked. And the next thing I know, I am reaching out mentally into the inky tentacles of the ether, and a creature which I assume to be Klabu responds to me. And I ask my questions. I say, are the Kuatoa safe? I heard that they are on the 17th floor, I think it was. Is that true? Yes. Are they safe? Yes. Okay, good news. I then ask it, should I trust my mum, which is the mind flayer that told us to kill the Githyanki and 2 red dragons? It responded, no. Interesting. I then asked it whether it knew that I loved and worshipped him above all others, and that I would not rest until everyone in the world had heard the glory of his name. And he responded, irrelevant. Which, let me tell you now, I was like, Mr. DM, sir, just roll those 66 psychic damage right now, because I am taking psychic damage to that answer. Oh my gosh. Anyway, no time to ponder the meaning of all of this as we find ourselves on the floor below. It is a crystal labyrinth where everything appears to be made of crystals, and the place is chock full of Githyanki and red dragons, the very creatures that we have been told to kill by my mum, and who my god told me not to trust. So my character has no idea what to do. But luckily we don't face them straight away. Instead we come across this crystal golem who appears to be guarding a room. We take it down, and in the process a bunch of Githyanki see us and they come over. And at first we try to talk our way out of things. Faustus uses Mask of Many Faces to disguise himself as a Gith. And obviously he can't speak their language, but I try to subtly touch him and cast tongues without anyone noticing, so at least he can understand what's being said, even if he can't respond. Unfortunately, I roll quite low on the sleight of hand check required to do this, and so it comes across as a bit suspicious, and the Gith, they really don't buy what we're trying to sell them. So they say, let's take them to Ilme to decide. Don't know who that is, but obviously we fight back, we defend ourselves, and it's a really good fight. A couple more crystal golems come in at one point, and it's a bit touch and go for a while. These golems, they're able to innately glow really brightly. That means that they blind anyone that looks at them. Auric, our artificer, basically spent half the fight completely out of action as a result of this. But let me tell you, by the end of it, the party and myself, we are running on fumes. We don't have any spell slots left. A lot of us have taken a lot of damage. But luckily I am able to absorb one of the Githyanki's souls as they die by casting Soul Cage. I get a free cast of it once per day. And once inside me, I am then able to ask this soul questions. And so I say to him, where do you come from? And he says, I came from the creche. I'm like, well, what's the creche? And he's like, it's where we grow our young. So then I try to use the soul to create an arcane eye inside the creche to see what it is and what it looks like. And the attempt to do this fails, because apparently the creche, whatever it is not on the same plane of existence as we are. Very curious. I didn't think it was possible to teleport inside the dungeon. It's not. A couple more questions. We get the name of their leader out of them. We find out that they are basically invading this floor. It's called the Crystal Labyrinth because it used to be a labyrinth until the Gith arrived, and they just kind of smashed everything down, broke a lot of the walls. They mentioned the name of the person they were going to take us to. And I then said, well, you mentioned Ilme. I'm going to create an arcane eye, and we're going to try and see this person, Ilme. And I was greeted with this view of a weird abyss and this kind of crystal stalactite hanging above the abyss, inside of which there was a Githyanki. And I'm like, that doesn't seem very good. Let's not go that way. So meanwhile, the other warlock in the party, Faustus, he is able to cast unlimited Speak with Dead innately. And so he's going around all of the Gith that we killed one by one and just systematically asking them the 5 questions that he's allowed to ask, and then moving on to the next one and the next one. And meanwhile, the druid in our party, Ember, she uses, I think it's Commune with Nature, to try and learn what the vibe is on this level. And she figures out that the crystal golems that we were attacking, they seem to be the victims in all of this. Apparently they don't seem to really want to attack us, but there's something evil here on this floor. There's an infestation infecting the place, which is making them act a bit strange. I think that's what we understood. So yeah, a lot of things that we learned here, which is great. And armed with this knowledge, we're like, right, we need to find somewhere to take a short rest. We're running on fumes, we need to rest. This room still had a crystal golem in it because the last crystal golem we left alive and was actually trapped during the fight inside a force cage. In an hour's time, that force cage will collapse. We need to not be here when that happens. So let's not go this way because that leads to the weird creature that we saw. So let's instead go this other way. And so we go the other way and we end up in a room that looks exactly the same as the one we were trying to avoid, with yet another weird crevasse into nothingness and a weird crystal stalactite with a Gith inside. And this Gith, his name is Arbez. And he isn't too keen on us being there. And this chasm, it turns out, is a portal into the astral sea. And this creature, I guess, is guarding it. I'm not entirely sure how it works yet still. We haven't figured that part out yet. But we talk to this guy for a while, and when it becomes clear that he means us harm, we decide to attack it. And we all attack it at exactly the same time. So I fire a magic missile, Faustus uses an eldritch blast, Auric fires a gunshot, and Gakar, who can't do anything at range, he decides to misty step inside the stalactite and attack the creature from in there. Just at the same moment that all of the other strikes from us hit the stalactite, and it breaks and it falls towards the astral sea. Reaction save, and luckily Gakar is able to save himself. He's left just kind of clinging with his claws to the kind of nub in the ceiling where the crystal used to be hanging, and he's just kind of hanging there like, help me. Well, luckily we're able to get him down, but it was a bit touch and go for a minute there. Oh dear. So now that we've rescued him and we're like, okay, so now we've definitely used up all of our spells and things. We really need to have a rest now. But is it safe? So we decide to go then into the next room, because maybe the next room is safer than here, because we got a crevasse into the astral sea here. That doesn't seem like a very safe place to rest. You know, clearly these Gith are taking people to this person. He was some sort of leader. We don't really want to be here when that happens. So let's find a safer place to rest. So we go to the next room, and we get attacked by a dragon and a lady riding on top of the dragon. She is some sort of Gith warrior, and this is of course an adult red dragon, because all dragons are one stage older than they were. And so we're like, oh, we're definitely running on fumes now as we fight this thing. But level 15 is very high in D&D, and we are actually able to defeat it relatively easily. And after this, finally, blessedly, we're able to take a short rest, thank goodness. And at the end of it, we take off this woman. We take a rod, a Stardock rod, and some plate armor which has like gems encrusted in it. The Stardock rod, I think we learned that it kind of opens up the place to where the Githyanki came from. So if that's the case, what's the deal with these caverns to the astral sea? I don't quite understand the relationship of what's happening here yet. So we don't really know what's going on. We don't know what these chasms are that have appeared. We don't know why the Gith are here. We don't know what this Stardock is, but most importantly for my character, he's having a moral dilemma at the moment of, should he kill these Githyanki when he finally meets them, or should he let them live? His mum wants to kill them. His god says not to trust his mum. What should he believe? He doesn't know. As I say, it was a really good session. I think the only thing right now that is something that's, it's not annoying, but it's something I need to kind of bear in mind, is I'm still trying to figure out the role that my character plays in the party. I mean, we've got a good mix of character types at the moment. We've got melee, we've got spellcasting, we've got healing, but yeah, my niche isn't really there anymore, because I'm a warlock. On paper you think, well, that means hex and eldritch blast, but that's not what I am. You know, I built my character to be, first and foremost, a tank. And the problem is that the new guy in the party, Gakar, is kind of filling the exact same battlefield role. Not his fault. Like I say, you don't really expect warlocks to be hard to kill. But yeah, we're virtually identical. Like, his AC is 21, my AC is 22. He gets 2 attacks per attack action, I get 2 attacks per attack action. He gets Divine Smite, I get Eldritch Smite. He can cast level 4 spells, I can cast level 5 spells. And he has taken the Sentinel feat, and I have taken the Sentinel feat. And something that I didn't realise until this session, Sentinel apparently is a feat that basically cancels itself out. Like, if you have 2 people in the party, both with Sentinel, and they're fighting a monster, and the monster attacks one of you, the other one is not able to attack it as an opportunity attack, which sucks. And equally sucky is the fact that due to his paladin nature and this aura that gives like anyone within 10 feet of him +3 on their saving throws, it means that everyone is constantly clustered around him, including myself. So I'm not really able to use Sentinel as a result, and he's not really able to perform the role that he was designed to fulfill in the party. So I don't know, I'm gonna have to kind of rethink a couple of things about my play style, how I make it work, what I do with him, that sort of thing. But yeah, anyway, if you watch this until the end, thank you so much for dropping by today. Do consider leaving a like, leaving a comment. It's always lovely to hear from you. And as always, I will speak to you next time. Take care.